IPPON! This is Ninjala, an 8-person free-for-all between gum swords, donut yo-yos, and mini skateboards. You may have heard of this game after its initial release, to which Nintendo hyped it up a little, and the close fans really liked it to start out. But oh, to be honest, the trend died off really quickly. This usually means two things. Something big or better is released in that time, or it's just not the best game. Now here's the question, which one is it? Why are all these characters kids? What does the gum do to turn into weapons of war? This is to be answered in the review of Ninjala. Now, first time opening the game, it makes it seem like an MMO, and the expressive Ninjala gets you pretty hyped. The cartoony semi-Splatoon style adds onto this, and honestly gets you ready for a cool experience of the Japanese game show style Ninja Brawl. Yet, this introduces my first issue with the game. How the cutscenes work. Instead of somehow coding them into the game, the creators of Ninjala opened a web page. I mean, it takes you into the Switch web browser, only extending the already decently long loading times. Don't get me wrong, I've never coded a game, but making the game cost a few more gigs instead of doing this would honestly be a lot more convenient and help the player a lot more. To me, even though I've never done it, it doesn't seem that hard, but I digress, it's just annoying. It might be a way to make the message of the day easier. Oh wait, never mind. They have a message of the day in the main menu. I mean, back to the intro, it throws you into another web cutscene to introduce you to the season, and then finally gets you into the game. Not the best first impressions, but dealable enough. The character creation, honestly, is one of the best parts of this game. Even though you can only change the basics of each character to start off with, it's still enough to make each character special and different, and honestly is cool with its mini descriptions of each character. I'm a guy who likes to play dress up with my characters though, so the fact that this is only further developed in a menu, has a fun Fortnite-style shop, and makes each piece fun to customize really just hits for home. Now, once you go into the tutorial, why is it another web cutscene? I don't mind going through the web on something like Genshin or Smash Bros for roll chances or patch notes respectively, but this just feels a bit excessive. I don't know how they want to do it in this game, but it doesn't work the way they want it to. This quicker cutscene shows a Fall Guys style layout of controls, and as much as it is easy to make it that, it doesn't work for this game. It's not as simple as they think. Don't get me wrong, it's easy to understand once you get into it, but just doing something like Street Fighter where they show you buttons that you have to press in a pause menu or a screen, I think honestly would have worked much better. I digress, the style is pretty cool, and I like the idea of attacking shy drones for more gum to make your weapons bigger. The dojo lets you skip whenever you're ready to start, and yada yada, let's get into the game menu. This rooftop reminds me of a Street Boy vibe, and to be honest, the HUD reminds me of Mod Nation Racers on PlayStation 3. This is one of the best parts of the game. I love this sticker style, mixing nostalgia I have for a random game with semi-new love I have for Splatoon style. I mean, it feels like a childish but good childish vibe for what's to come. I went through a lot of the menus first, being mainly the shop and the closet. This is where you can change your weapon, to which I chose the yo-yo, and went ahead to customize my character even further, having better voices, hairstyles, eye color, and I basically got to create a whole new character that I wanted. I'd enter the shop, to which I find, oh my god, honestly, this game finds its community in Japan almost exclusively, and all I can say is it's actually super cool. And all I can say is it's actually a pretty cool collab. There's also a battle pass and microtransactions. I have no clue how to earn this currently either, and as much as this game leaves you in mystery, it's not the right type of game to do that. Another thing I scrolled through before actually getting into the game is the music menu. Easily, I will say, this is the best part of the game. This music has a punk rock, jazz, Splatoony vibe to it, all depending on which song you choose. It can bounce between styles pretty easily and it works well. I will be completely honest, I actually quite enjoyed the bouncing remix of styles. It really just felt like it stayed fresh. Enough menu talk, let's get straight into gameplay.
Now, something I missed at first is the story mode. Even though this game is almost 100% focused on the multiplayer with its combos and specific element I'll mention on later, this short story of Van was actually pretty cool. It gave soda enemies, and to be honest, it felt like what a fully developed mission mode could be made into. There's a few more missions I've heard of but I haven't played, but altogether, it was a really nice nod, and it helped me to understand what was going on a bit better. There was nothing about the story mode that pulled me in too much, so I went to the main thing of the game. But without further ado, let's just go into a match.
Now with all of this build up to a new weapon with abilities and all, makes a very Splatoon menu. It feels like it's trying to be more melee Splatoon. Now here we can scroll through the enemy skins while waiting for surprisingly longer load times. I digress, when you get in, you can do a training dojo again, and I'll be honest, this should have just been the tutorial. It doesn't tell you anything, but the bot actually attacks you and introduces you to what happens in a 1v1. Basically 4-way rock, paper, scissors. I mean, yes, this is an interesting idea, but when you get into the actual fighting fighting online, you quickly realize something. It really doesn't work. As much as this game wants to be a Ninja Boy fight club, if you don't attack someone from behind with an ultimate or sometimes a bigger weapon, the entire gameplay is really just complete RNG.
Don't get me wrong, there's combos you can hit with a weapon that makes it viable that will eventually kind of lock somebody into a combo, but it's easily counterable at first that it was almost a struggle to actually land one.
For a game like this, I don't really think it works. This type of gameplay doesn't feel like it should be exclusively online, but there's no way to outplay or predict your opponent. This makes it feel like there really isn't any skill involved. The map is decently small, allowing for ippons or knockouts, which I guess is pretty cool, but in a world where gameplay is supreme, missing in that level is not really a good sign. Each weapon is different, and as I mentioned earlier, ultimates come into play. The best ultimate is the skateboard, where you become a gum monster and altogether just kick some ass. This is honestly more fun than the normal gameplay, but in order to get it, you really just need to roll the dice. This game doesn't really have much skill involved, but that really made it lose its luster. Now that we've covered the big issue, let's talk about the semi-story on how the gum works. The gum chewing turns you into a child. A child. I'm getting real Boss Baby vibes. Now, not only do you turn into a child, but blowing bubbles gives the new child an actual weapon. And then they send the ninja kids to brawl out in an all-out war. I don't know who came up with this, but it might be able to seem alright if you explained it with not just the loading screens. Well, I mean, Age of Calamity cleared up the fog in the loading screens. This game relies on its long loading times to tell you the story. I mean, it's really just a screen that nobody wants to be in. Altogether, my real opinion is that Ninjala really isn't the best. Its RNG gameplay, lack of explanation, and annoyingly long loading screens to enter a cutscene of all things is really just not my thing. I mean, it's lovingly formed of great music tracks and fun collaborations with a great style, but in reality it fails to do those much justice. It's not the worst thing of all time, hell I gave it a few chances, but in reality it's nothing that I'd recommend. It feels like they took an idea of the Splatoon style and just didn't put as much effort into it, making it a bigger missed opportunity that anybody'd want. I mean, if you enjoy this, I can respect that, but in reality, this game was a letdown when it came into main gameplay. The tutorial doesn't really explain anything, nor does any of the main gameplay either. The game feels good only when the ultimates are active, and makes a fun-looking melee into a big rock, paper, scissors match. To close off, I'd give this game a rating of a 6.5 out of 10. It's one of the most average games I've played in a while, and though it looks cool, its gameplay wasn't as advertised or as we thought was advertised at all, and really just leads to a half-decent letdown. I mean, I hate to give games low ratings because I'm shutting down someone's effort and time, but this game really just felt like it was half-assed when it came to anything except style. Honestly, Ninjala, you had potential, but Splatoon is just the better game of this. You kinda ippon yourself, mate.